Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Count down to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.
J360 Radio.
Actually, nah, not tonight. You know something? This is the J360 Mini Bites, and it is hosted by J.M. Brady, but no theme song tonight. You know why? Because, you see, we're not even 2 weeks in, and we already have some BS. Some of y'all got your BS early. I know I did. But, you know, I was going to actually talk about tonight on why you shouldn't participate in events with toxic people, but apparently we're going to supersede that today because little did I realize that the country had its whole entire toxicity come into play today. Not to mention because of what Donald Trump did with his whole Save America march and all that stuff. And just people manage to scale not only the walls, but to get to the rotunda and break in the windows of the United States Capitol building. And pretty much did a whole invasion. And then in some cases, they didn't invade at all. That was the romantic parts. There were even some moments where, you know, the Trumpites and the mega drones were invited in nicely by the good police standing out there in front of a government structure. You know, they claim to love this country. They claim to be about making America great again, but at the same time, they're making America more annoying and intolerable, and not to mention harder to deal with. See, I just like people who do that, to make my life as unbearable as possible, to make other people's lives as unbearable as possible. And today we've seen it. Like, for some reason, people think it's okay to do this kind of stuff. You know, because you have a sociopath up in office right now. Hopefully he won't be there after these 2 weeks when Inauguration Day comes around. But I still feel for the new administration coming in, but we'll get to that later. But you see, one way or another, him doing all this crap right here is not helping anything. It further divides who we are. And then to make matters worse is he mobilized them. He had this whole thing stirred up. Even during the Georgia runoffs, he was over there trying to pressure the people in charge of what goes on in Georgia to, you know, throw some votes and keep it red, keep it Republican. I'm like, are you insane? Like, look, it's one thing to go on ahead and try to, you know, inspire and stir up people to vote, but it's a whole different thing when you're trying to rig this stuff for you. When you're trying to go on ahead and twist this in any sort of way you want to as a way of trying to cement your win, it's not going to matter. You're losing your job. You didn't win your election. You understand what I'm saying? When they come up in there and they were doing that stop the steal stuff and all this other things, I mean, shout outs to the people in charge of the electorals right now, because could have easily lost some of them votes. Could have easily lost a lot of things in addition to this, because everybody's on this conspiracy theory kick. It's one thing when they do it. Conspiracy theories used to be fun and used to be interesting to talk about at one time or another. You can get good conversations out of it. But now it's become the norm. And ever since Donald Trump's been involved and all of his crazy stuff, it's been interwoven into the main narrative. Nobody believes anything anymore, especially when it comes to any sort of normalcy. And yeah, me talking about normalcy, isn't that something? But look, it's like the standard function of things. Why do you think we have representative democracy? We can't do direct democracy. We have representation of this stuff. These people are put in because of electorals from us. And the Electoral College cements that fact. You know what I mean? Delegations right there. These people still have their jobs and have the best job security in the world because, hey, we put them there. And you see one way or another, Donald Trump with his old xenophobia and all that stuff. People are just now figuring out how unhinged he is. Whereas a lot of us who actually pay attention and really do some self-sufficient, independent thought, we know. Which is why he shouldn't have won that election at all. Which is why at the same time, you know, should Hillary have won? I don't know how it would have went down with Hillary. But you probably would have had these gung-ho so-and-sos out here go ahead and complain about her announcing Benghazi everywhere. But you got Donald Trump doing this kind of stuff during the height of a pandemic, which he didn't care about. And it's funny. I just look at it all the time. I'm wondering, could I ever have a fan base like Donald Trump's, where they follow every beck and call to me and they pretty much would happily wipe my behind and all? You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds kind of graphic, but this isn't a joke. These people will lay and die on the hill for this man. For him. The ugliest, tiresome dude I've ever seen in my life. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it makes me sick even bringing his name up. But that's how disgusting this man is. And not to mention, you saw what happened today when all of his followers went ahead and pretty much scaled Capitol Hill quite easily than, say, anybody from Black Lives Matter or in a minority movement would. And you notice, like, during the Black Lives Matter protests, SWAT, National Guard, everybody was out there, standing strong, looking over in our direction, hoping that things don't get out of hand, or some wanting it to get out of hand so that they can go ahead and do what they got to do. You know what I mean? They were ready. But this particular thing, even when Trump was over there stirring the pot, pretty much mobilizing these people to go ahead and do his bidding, and then honestly, minorities, me and other African Americans, we wouldn't even make it to the rotunda. Hell, I don't even think we would make it to the steps. We would have been capped and we would have been mauled, and not only that, they probably would have turned the hose on us too. Yeah, they would have brought that back. A bunch of other things and ways of doing crowd control, not to mention flashbangs here, and of course a couple of tear gases over here. I didn't see one moment of tear gassing. I didn't hear no dogs, and not only that, these guys got in the building. And when they got in the building, it looked like they were all on a field trip or something like that, because they were all just walking around and going into the offices. They were in Nancy Pelosi's office. They were in another senator's office, and actually they were in a senator assistant's seat. And then they were all messing around with the stuff. One person was trying to steal a podium. And then not only that, guess what? You wonder where the police were? Well, some of them were scattered and did their job, but quite a lot of them, they were chilling. Matter of fact, they invited some of them in. Yeah. Like those that didn't do anything like any of that Robin Hood BS and trying to climb and scale walls, which, by the way, it's funny. These people have been complaining about getting a wall built, but there they are scaling a Capitol wall. So that just proves that walls don't work. And then they got into the building, and then they pretty much did a whole lot of stuff that I could never do, even if I could be in Capitol Hill or have a reason to be there. Like if I was doing some reporting and stuff, I'd be under surveillance. I'd be checked at every point. Unless I had my pass. And even then, probably with my pass, I had to get like a TSA search. Maybe. But then there's a chance with these people, however, the privileged people walking through there, like they were invited in, pretty much. Like they were over there saying, hey, let me borrow some hedge clippers or some yard work or anything that I need. Take anything you want. I was pissed. And not only that, I wasn't shocked, but I was really pissed. Because, for one thing, they had no reason walking around through the Capitol building like that. And another thing is, when you get right down to it, I saw no arms against any of them. None. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, here comes Trump coming on here after Joe Biden's speech, by the way. I thought Joe Biden did an okay speech, but, he's about to step into that, into a huge mess, so more power to him. But not only that, I got to be prepared for whatever kind of crazy stuff come from him, too. Not saying that he's crazy, because what we got right here now, this is unhinged. Not to mention all the people he pardoned and all this stuff. He just didn't care about America. But you try telling his followers that. His followers over here muttering all this other stuff. Stop the steal. Trump 2020. Even though it's not 2020 anymore. All that crap. Talk about voter fraud and everything else. Let me just spell this out. Your guy didn't win. He didn't get enough votes. Wasn't a landslide. If anything, he lost quickly. It wasn't a close call. You understand? If he did a good job, if he was actually presidential, if he wasn't running around with this stupid stuff, selling it out to us every time, either through Twitter or either through, either through OAN or any of those news networks or the Daily Stormer, God rest, all that nasty crap, he probably still had his job. You probably would have had a second term, but you see, much like any other rational human beings on this earth and myself, we're sick of it. It's disgusting. This xenophobia now, this hardship, this playing football with our lives. Some of us are trying to get better jobs. Some of us are trying to move up into the world. And then you got all this other stupid rhetoric going on. And then he's trying to pull the goalposts so that, somehow I'll win. You lost, dude. When you lose, you lose. You see, and the thing about it is with me, I know how to take a loss. One way or another, I can be pretty happy knowing that each and every single day, no matter how crazy it goes on or how unhinged I could be sometimes, at least I know I'm smarter than Donald Trump. I mean, my God. And it is so selfish and it's so tiresome. And it's so, here's the thing. When he leaves public office, he can go back to doing what he did for us. Not a damn thing. He can go golfing anytime he wants to. He can go and do whatever the hell he want to do, just that the cameras will not be on him unless you sign up for his streaming channel or whatever. That's the whole thing. He already done conned us once. You ain't gonna go ahead and try to do this nonsense again. We see where you go. And if anything, if I was any of these delegates right here, I would start going ahead and pushing that 25th Amendment, to go ahead and get rid of his behind. Because he done pretty much proven that he's irresponsible to be in power. Yes, this is horrible. You know what I mean? And one person got killed in this. But unfortunately, they managed to let them all go. Whereas if it's me and other minorities, about half of us would be in jail, and the other half of us dead. Not mauled or anything, dead. Completely. And it's ridiculous, and it's disgusting. And not only that, the systemic principles of this crap. And then what they'll do is they'll go ahead and they'll say, this is complicated, and then put all sorts of politics and stupid stuff in the middle instead of just getting it done. It's at a point now where you realize that America has a long way to go to achieve total equality. Because right here, while it's cool to see that the Senate and the House are back in business, while it's cool to see that they're working on getting this new Congress set up and hopefully get some sort of transition of power, but at the same time, it's still got a long way to go. And I just can't help but realize this. Maybe I could do more. You know what I mean? It could have been me out there covering this nonsense. Seeing people, grown people coming through an entire government facility, not getting held accountable, not getting, barricaded against. Some were, but not many. And not to the point where it was anything of significance. You read about a lot of these moments where people do this insurrection nonsense and they get held to the T for it. You know what I mean? If I was to say something like, hey, I'm going to do something at this point, they probably would have found me, arrested me, wiped me out or some sort of way. You know what I mean? SWAT would have been on my ass quick. But this sort of crap, though, oh no, we're SWAT. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Where the hell is SWAT? SWAT's not there, right? SWAT only works when SWAT wants to. And then, of course, you got to be of a certain color grade, right? Maybe that's how SWAT works. Like, didn't the move bombing happen in Philadelphia because of nonsense like this? It's a lot of wild stuff, man. But then again, these people have a hard time understanding what domestic terrorism is. And they gave domestic terrorism not only a face, but a race. And not only that, it's of a race that everybody tries to imitate and want to be. And it's so disgusting. White America, you need to get it together. And Black America, I have my problems with you too, but I'm going to get on your asses later. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. We need to get it together. Everybody needs to unify, put their BS on the side, or get it all solved in some other way. Because this stuff doesn't make sense right now. I got my problems with a lot of different people and a lot of different times. And this is the time where I just say enough. Forget it. You know what I'm saying? The hell with all that stuff. We're not making it better. Some of y'all like this division stuff. We got a long ways to go. Got like pretty much, 3 more weeks? Or no, 2 more weeks and at least 11 more months of effery to go. I'm not even going to waste time cussing. Anyway, this is J-Man signing off. The J-Man Show will be happening tomorrow. Y'all take it easy. Peace to you. Laters.
Your Space Coast vacation is preparing for liftoff. Start counting down now. 10, 9, 8, 7. It's time for a beach vacay that feels like heaven. 6, 5, 4. Come explore Melbourne and the beaches. 3, 2, 1. It's time for some rocket-filled fun. Countdown to your best beach vacation ever on Florida's Space Coast. Launch your planning now at visitspacecoast.com. That's visitspacecoast.com.